just let me try and demystify some of the technologies that we speak about here, right? So we speak about technology, we speak about AI, we speak about IT, and we speak about VR, AR, and a lot of other technologies as well. Well, my background is in the space of virtual reality and augmented reality, right? So virtual reality is immersive technologies where people put on VR devices and teleport inside, perhaps Mars, while you're physically here. And whereas augmented reality is where you put on a smart glass and you could see perhaps the Prime Minister of India as his avatar right here, along with everybody else around, right? So where it mixes reality with virtual data on top of the reality, which is augmented reality. Now, coming to AI, AI has become a catch-all word from a very long time, although it has become famous only from the last 8 months, right? Because of ChatGPT, Bard, and things like that. But AI has been used over the last 6-7 years with the majority of the society, where it uses a lot of catch-all technologies like one, computer vision, right? So computer vision is predominantly used during COVID days when people had to understand, if a certain so-and-so person was already infected with COVID or not, face recognition was majorly used, right? And that was labeled as AI as well. Like AI was introduced in a lot of companies where when it comes to attendance taking, it was all about having cameras around installed in different premises. And as employees started walking in, the camera will automatically detect who you are, and it would sort of allow you to sort of access through the gate and then come in. So this was also termed as AI, right? So AI included computer vision, which is basically face recognition. Likewise, AI is also used in servicing, for example. Let's say there is a technician who is in front of a car and he needs to figure out if a spark plug is okay or not. What used to happen in the past is, he would sort of look at the spark plug, or he would call an expert asking him if the spark plug is okay or not. But with the advent of AI, and in this case, object recognition and object classification, where you take a photo of the spark plug, AI will know if it's a faulty spark plug or a good spark plug, right? Which in the past was where only an expert could look at it, come back to this guy, technician, and say, hey, ye to kharab ho gaya, so why don't you sort of replace it and get a new spare, right? But from a compliance standpoint, for the customer who is going to be billed for that spark plug, it's all dependent on how good that expert was. But now with AI, so AI can, because of the humongous data set it already has, it can clearly tell if the spark plug is okay or not without any other human intervention. So this is object classification, which is also termed as AI. Now, fast forward from the last 6 years to about 8 months ago, AI became very famous because of what is called as LLMs, right? So large language models. Because of large language models is why AI suddenly became famous, not just because of object recognition and computer vision in the past. So what is LLM, right? So LLM is you can think of it as a large computer program, right? So we all know software programs. There's an application for this, an app for that, and so forth, right? From a very long time. But think of LLM as another program, right? Another program which continuously runs on the cloud like any other computer, right? So, if you look at ticketing system for a railway ticket, so there is obviously a server running somewhere, and anybody can go in online on the app or through the website where you can book a ticket. Now, think of LLM also as a program which is running on the cloud, except this LLM is so sophisticated that it has so many connections all across within the cloud, where it knows it is already trained with humongous data of all the literature all around, where that literature is also classified with a certain sentiment, which means this LLM software which is running in the cloud knows what is right, what is wrong, based on the data it is already trained with. One is almost like sentience, where LLMs know how to frame sentences. So at the lowest level, it's about how to frame sentences. How to frame sentences in a rude way, if you ask it to sort of write it in a rude way, or how to frame it in a very nice way, or in a polite way, or in the way that I would probably write. How does it know how I would write, right? So I would sort of tell that LLM, hey, this is how I would write an email to my employer, right? So I can tell the LLM, because it knows already how to write in a rude way or good way or a professional way, I can teach it that this is my style of writing, and it knows what it is, and it can start writing for me, right? So at the lowest level, at the foundation level, LLMs are all about language understanding, right? It knows language, it knows the style of language, and it can compose language for you. So it all actually started off with that. And then what a very popular tool called ChatGPT has done is it also gave a lot of additional data to the LLM, right? So LLM is a transformer. I mean, in a tech term, it's called transformer, which was introduced by Google a long time ago. And ChatGPT came in, took the transformer, and then it created it as a ChatGPT. And then on top of this transformer, which is basically the language understanding, now it added a lot of terabytes of data, which is the world knowledge, right? So across different blogs, different portals, different Wikipedia and so forth, where all of the data is added to the ChatGPT's normal language understanding, which made it, I would say, an average world human, right? So it's all, I mean, basically, if you ask, a person like, what's the capital of Italy, right? Now, there are people who would tell it. If I ask a person who is the, commissioner of PR for state of Telangana, let's say in 2018, somebody from the states of Andhra and Telangana would probably say it, but not somebody else from somewhere else in the world. But what ChatGPT has done is, it has averaged all the people all across the world, and I would sort of look at ChatGPT as an average world human. If it says, I mean, if I ask ChatGPT to say something about a certain topic, if that topic looks very rude in terms of what it says, then you could safely assume that that's probably what we are seeing all across the world, because that's trained on all this data all across the world, and what ChatGPT responds is actually what the majority of the world thinks, right? So it is the average world human, which is available on the cloud for everybody here. So right. So with that about AI, let me also talk about the other popular technology here called the Metaverse, right? So Metaverse is all about having multiple people inside a virtual world where they're all represented by their avatars, right? So while we are all meeting here in person, let's say for people who are not able to come here in person, there are tools like Google Meet, Zoom, and everything else that we have tried in the last few years. But what Metaverse will do for all of us is you can have that immersive, in-person like conversations possible even in the virtual space, right? So now AI is also possible to come here in the Metaverse as well, but I'll sort of talk about it in the next few minutes. But these are the first few terms that I want to sort of ensure all of us understand, LLMs, AI across object recognition, computer vision, and language understanding, right? So now the next thing that I want to talk about is access to AI, right? As I'm sure majority of the people here would have already tried ChatGPT, right? Would you agree that you'd have tried ChatGPT in some form? You'll have to adopt the new technologies, right? We have been doing it over the last several decades now. Now ChatGPT is just another technology that has come in, right? So in terms of access, there is direct access on web available today, where for those who have not tried it yet, so you can actually sort of go to chatgpt.openai.com and you can ask whatever it like. It's a free service. You can ask whatever you like, and it will sort of answer back to you in about a few seconds. Likewise, there is another popular technology called Bard, which is introduced by Google. If you haven't tried Google, Google's basically ChatGPT alternative, you can actually sort of do that as well. It's on bard.google.com. You can go there. In terms of comparison, Bard is updated till today or a few months ago, but ChatGPT is updated only till 2021. Right? You'll probably get a lot more information which is up to date when you go to. I mean, I'm not supporting one or the other, but I wanted to sort of give in both perspectives. But on the overall knowledge standpoint, ChatGPT perhaps has a lot more knowledge in terms of totality of knowledge, the classification of knowledge, but just the information that Bard has is a lot more. Just the information bit, but not about analyzing that information, right? The last one is, besides ChatGPT and Bard, for a company, let's say for an XYZ company, let's say you want to introduce AI to your customers, right? That's also possible. You can actually sort of take a transformer from Google, basically open source model. You can put it on cloud and you can deploy it to your customers. So it's not that AI means only ChatGPT, right? It's not that AI means only Bard, right? You can actually implement your own AI with your own knowledge. Let's say as a university, you have a lot of data, a lot of PhD thesis that you already have, and you want your new student who joins the university to be able to ask questions to a university representative, where that representative, let's say, has to answer everything about everything by looking into all the thesis that was published by the university, right? It's not possible today, right? But with AI, you can actually do it. You can upload all of that data that you have in your libraries or in the digital form as PDFs or doc files. You can upload all of them, and you can bring in one of these transformer LLM models that I was just referring to, and create a version available online for your students, so that a new student who joins in, they can actually, when they're working on a topic, they can actually ask a question. Hey, is this even relevant today? Because I'm trying to attempt this problem statement, and I want to write a thesis on it. Immediately, that model can start responding with all the relevant thesis or papers that were published by the university in the last several years. Right? This is important data which otherwise can be obtained only by talking to a professor or a bunch of professors or going to the library and so forth. But now you can empower the student to have full knowledge about how to start working on their research. Right? So this is the third way where you can actually deploy your own AI models. Now, so I'd like to introduce some recent stats in terms of AI. Right? One of the previous speakers talked about PR has come to the boardroom as well. In fact, Dr. Reddy Garu is a person who actually introduced the value of PR all across, and also introduced the value of PR in the boardroom. Now, what is happening in the recent past in the boardrooms, right? According to a report by McKinsey, what I came across is about 40% of board companies in their boardrooms have dedicated time towards what they can do using AI. This is 40% of all the companies today are actually in their boardroom meetings are discussing how AI could be introduced. Now, how about thinking in a direction where you could use AI and PR together, right? Which certainly is a direction where I think the industry should go to when it comes to PR, because corporates are giving ample importance to AI, about 40%. Second, about 1/3 of businesses all across the world, 1/3 of businesses have at least created one business use case using AI, and it's already done. So at least one business use case in every organization is being used in about 30% of the companies, as per the survey by McKinsey. Right? And AI apparently will impact about 60% of workforce by the year 2030. Right? So it will impact in such a way that the workforce will either upskill themselves, or those works will not be necessary anymore. Right? Again, you can look at it more from an opportunity, or from a point of view of a negative impact of AI, right? So if you look at it from an opportunity standpoint, it's all about upskilling yourself so that nobody's a part of that 60% of the workforce that's impacted. Now, let me quickly switch gears to talk about a few popular tools that all of us could start using, all across, and especially in PR as well. I'm sure all of you would have heard about DALL-E. DALL-E is a popular image generation tool. Right? Of course, when it comes to media, marketing, and so forth, creating images is one of the important pieces of content generation. Right? For that, there are a lot of popular tools, I'm sure, which all of you would have looked into. One is called DALL-E, one is called Stable Diffusion, other one, which is actually probably the most popular tool, called Midjourney. Right? So these are the tools that are available today, and through a technique called prompt engineering. In fact, I was talking to somebody else just recently, right? So prompt engineering is the most looked after skill to have. And what is prompt engineering? It's about defining what you want in a very precise text. And as you all would agree, doing that in real world amongst people is also very important. Right? Likewise, even for AI to sort of work in a way where you can sort of get results like you wanted, it's all about giving clear instructions. Hey, I want a picture of a 100 square feet, stage decorated with flowers, painted in a very artistic background, created using a certain 3D render. Right? So if I define it in such a way, AI most likely will give you an image which you wanted. But if you tell it, hey, give me a beautiful diverse picture, it will give whatever that world average human thought about. Right? It will give you an answer, but that's what the world average human is. So if you want it like the way you want it, you just give it a very articulate, detailed statement, and the AI will sort of give it back to you. So in image generation, there are a lot of tools like I just said, Mid-Journey. You can start using that, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion. Adobe also has a software called Firefly, which started using AI. And when it comes to content, actually like text content, writing content, I'm sure half of us. I was using Grammarly as well. So Grammarly is a very popular tool that has been there for a while now, and Grammarly now started using AI as well. So to sort not just correct your mistakes, but also to recommend what you may have wanted to write, right? Or what you may want to write in the next few lines. I'm sure in Google, Gmail, it started doing that already, where when you try to sort of write a sentence, it already is sort of telling you like what you can write in the next few words, right? So Grammarly is one, Jasper is another one, Copy.ai these are the three tools that I have come across, which are popular for content creation, right? Where you can sort of give it some brief in terms of content, and it can sort of generate additional content for you. And in terms of other tools, right? So there is a tool called AI Agent, which is all about automating tasks. When it comes to what I've researched in the last couple of days on PR, is there are a lot of tasks that probably are mundane, but which you'll still have to do, right? Look at so-and-so website, look in a certain document, and then look somewhere else and publish it, and then go to next step and so forth, right? These are all the tasks that in the past, where a software company had to create a software to sort of automate all of that. But now with AI, with ChatGPT and other tools like that, you can easily create either a software automation process, or there are tools that are already available out there. One is called AI Agent. When you go out to AI Agent, you can actually sort of tell it things like, hey, if there is this brand word that comes up in the search in so-and-so through the next 5 days, then go to this portal and publish a page with so-and-so content, and then send an email to so-and-so email address. You can actually write something like this using a tool like this, and you just relax, right? And then you sort of wake up to it only when that email is sent, right? Instead of you having to spend a lot of time on that mundane process, you can actually now start using your time wisely for other things that you want to do consequentially after this, right? So what I think, because of all these tools is, as a human, we all can sort of put in a lot more effort on strategic, creative, and other tasks, and you can sort of go, delegate all the mundane tasks that we do to AI to sort of help you with. I'm not talking about AI replacing us, but it's all about we sort of moving towards where we can sort of be a little more strategic than having to do the same thing again and again. The other tools that I've come across in PR especially is a tool called Meltwater, NewsWhip, and I'm sure you've heard about Cision for press releases, right? Cision has a tool called Meltwater for sentiment analysis. Right? Sentiment analysis is a topic which has been spoken about for a long time, but now with AI, those sentiment analysis that you can sort of do on pages all across the internet can actually be a lot more accurate. In the past, this accuracy has gone for a toss, because in the past, AI was all about classifying this means this means this, and so forth. But now AI is so much more sophisticated that it can understand very clearly what that person did when he used a word good, but customer service did not help me. Everything was good, but the customer service did not help me. It's actually a negative connotation, right? In the past, this would have been taken in as good, right? But now with the state-of-the-art technology that we have now, the AI can sort of interpret this entire statement and then say there is a negative tone that's coming in from so-and-so user, right? So these are actually possible with latest tools that are available called Meltwater. I've not personally tried them, but you can expect new AI tools to be a lot more intelligent than in the past. And when it comes to phases of organizations, right? When it comes to phase of an organization, always PR folks had to come in and speak about the organization either in person or through an article or through a video, right? To be there everywhere is very difficult for a PR professional. There are tools called Synthesia, and there's a tool called TalkingHuman.AI, where the disclaimer is TalkingHuman.AI is from us. But Synthesia is another very popular worldwide company where you can create characters, like 3D characters or 2D characters. You can sort of design them after one of your employees, and they can be trained to speak about the company, right, in a very nicely lit, studio lit environment, right? But how will they speak? I mean, the PR professional is still important, very, very important, to give that agent that data, and that agent can speak about whatever you talked about in a very nicely lit environment, which can be recorded as a video and can be sent to everybody else. So in terms of content creation through videos and avatars, so there are tools like this. Yeah, in terms of, again, I briefly talked about opportunities in PR, right? Sentiment analysis. The other one is brand coverage, and you can identify influencers all across, automate tasks, analyze campaigns, and of course, a lot of media companies would sort of look at, is my campaign doing okay or not? Now, with AI, you can actually analyze campaigns much, much more faster, probably in just minutes. And lastly, creating content. What I missed out on talking about is when it comes to press releases, we all know how difficult it used to be long ago in terms of creating press releases. But now, because, and of course, from a task standpoint, when it comes to press release, I'm not belittling here, but from my limited understanding, it's about understanding the brand, understanding the audience, and writing it in such a way that the audience can take it in a positive way, that which the brand thinks about, right? Now, for this, using AI, you could sort of get in a global research knowledge, using which you can ask AI to sort of create a first draft of the press release, that which you can take later and start composing it or editing it using your style, right? It probably already has a lot of research that you wanted to do brought in already into that draft release, and then you can work on that later and create that press release in just about a day or so. What used to have taken about a week or so now can be done in about a day. We also talked about, one of the speakers also talked about ethics, right, when it comes to PR, right? Now, if you say AI can sort of do all of it, there is a challenge in terms of ethics as well. These are some ethical implications when it comes to using AI. Because if you remember what I talked about, which is the global average citizen, right? Now, you can't rely completely on an AI to sort of write a press release or anything, because sometimes it may sort of think of it in a different way. So it has bias. One of the problems with AI is it has bias based on the data it has been trained with. What it means is maybe there's racial discrimination which is already plugged in because of that data that it has been trained with. So don't expect AI to suddenly give you another answer which is indiscriminate, right? So that is the job of the PR professional after that first draft, to ensure that draft is safe and it has no bias. Second is privacy. When you actually put in data to all these LLM models, the data will sort of get into that other company as well. So think about how you sort of put in that data into these LLMs. You can actually anonymize that data, put it in, and then when it comes back, you can replace it with whatever you want. Lastly, transparency. When it comes to publishing an article, transparency is super important, because when it comes to a PR professional, you can actually sort of vouch for what you say. But AI may not vouch for what it says. I mean, you may not be able to find out how it actually arrived at an answer. That's something that's an onus on the PR professional to ensure that transparency is well thought through. I would like to end the conversation here. I think I've taken a lot of time. So, but I would like to conclude that future of PR is definitely using AI, right? As they say, right? So if you do not adopt a new technology, you will be replaced eventually, or you will be sort of displaced eventually, right? Now, technology is not here to displace people, but technology is here to sort of assist people. So we can, as long as we can sort of use technology, understand it, it's actually sort of to our strength that we can benefit from it and move forward.